Hi, good morning. My name is Dave Thompson. I'm a developer here at Excitec. Basically today we're just going to go through various different topics at a high level, talking about how different space usage strategies and also just general space management strategies can affect an organisation's efficiency. Generally speaking, we're going to be looking at the topics of measuring space, the tracking of occupancy and vacancy, space chargeback strategies, and also hot desking, hoteling and workgroup strategies. Okay. So to cover the general topics, why manage space? Well, really there's kind of four areas in which an organisation can really manage and improve itself in terms of its space usage. The first of all is improving its actual efficiency of space itself, so actually getting more people into a small amount of space, really making use of the space that they have. The second area or tenet is to reduce the amount of vacant space that an organisation has within its portfolio. Thirdly, to actually reduce the space requirement that the organisation has itself. So we're not talking about contraction of the organisation, but just generally put methods in place which mean that the organisation requires less space to reduce that cost. And finally, as part of all of that, to manage its space efficiently as the requirement and the space itself expands and contracts over time. So as part of the reason for managing space, it all comes down to cost, as most things do, and the cost of space can be measured in two areas: direct costs. So these are things that we'll all be familiar with, either through business or as householders, things like rents, rates, energy costs, security, heating, lighting, and so on. So all of the costs that go into running an organisation or buildings with an organisation come back ultimately to the cost of space, and usually measured on a square footage basis, pounds per square foot, but or square metre. But all of those costs, and also indirect costs. So, for example, things like the extension of leases, if you need to renew a lease on a short term, the capital investment for owner-occupiers, the money actually tied up of a business in its property portfolio. And also the liabilities. So these can be liabilities in terms of the obvious liabilities such as health and safety, asbestos and things like that, but also liabilities in terms of business liabilities. So where a property is held under lease, then there'll be an obligation on the business to continue that lease for the duration of the lease, even if they no longer require the building. So all space and all buildings that companies and organisations use come with them costs and liabilities. So in terms of the type of scope and scale of costs that can be made throughout an organisation through effective space strategies, these are example costs, and obviously the size of the organisation will greatly affect the amounts involved on the left-hand side there. But also we've just based these nominally. This is just on a 200 staff, which is a smallish organisation, and we've nominally based it on a cost of around about £5,000 per annum as a cost of space to effectively house or provide office space to an individual person. So this is a desk or a small office for each person. And again, the actual cost will vary greatly. Typically, the cost of space will range anything from the kind of £2,000–3,000 per annum mark, anywhere up to £14,000–15,000 per annum, depending on the real estate involved, the location, and so on, and also the quality of the services provided around that real estate. So with no effective space strategy, that's our baseline. That's just what the space is costing at the moment, and with no effective strategy at all, it's just going to cost whatever it costs. By applying some kind of improved space efficiency, so literally squeezing more into the same space or making use of it more efficiently, that can be a saving of anything around sort of 4% mark. Again, these are just indicative kind of costs, but give you an idea.